Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans, pro football fans across the nation and around the world. This is Tim May with the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall. Clay Hall, what you got to say for yourself, my man? It's Ohio State. It's an off week for Ohio State. We got to fill in some gaps here.
Well, I've never been so excited about an open date.
Wow.
And we're going to convey what we learned from Ryan Day and the coordinators. That will be you'll hear from them as well on a variety of topics.
Ryan Day, the head coach at Ohio State.
He would be seventh season, if I'm correct there. Couple things. We know that Bennett Christian, the tight end, is going to be back. We know that Tywan Malone got a lot of reps and equal with Edric Houston, I believe. And we know that Bo Jackson is coming on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about him in a minute. Bottom line is, I think the reason we talk a lot about Ohio State is, number one, we're both experts on Ohio State.
Here's the thing. Did
I say that? The reason we do is, number one, that's what we know. Number two, we're HQ'd right here in the middle of Columbus, Ohio, on the north side, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, Ohio State is the number one team in the country.
Do you know that they are the only
and the reigning national champion?
They're the only FBS team that has not allowed a red zone touchdown.
There you got. There's another thing.
Another little feather in the cap.
Yeah.
For the Buckeyes.
Of course, they've only given up 2 touchdowns total in their first 3 games, and now they rest. Why it's interesting. The more I look around the country, I think the most tested teams so far are like Georgia Tech and Florida State.
Mm-hmm. Who've been in the fire.
Right. I mean, Georgia finally got tested at Tennessee, and Georgia figured out a way to win that game. No matter how you win it, you won it.
They
right.
did.
Penn State
hasn't
played anybody yet of note, but they're going to. They're going to play Oregon.
Coming off a win over Villanova.
Right. They're going to play Oregon, which who did Oregon decimate?
Northwestern.
Yeah. But they decimated Northwestern after decimating whoever it was, Texas Tech or whomever it was. The bottom line is
they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. So I look at the Southeastern Conference. I'm not sure I see a team yet on the level. This is a bold statement. I don't think I see a team yet in the Southeastern Conference on the level of Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State, maybe not in that order. And I might even throw Illinois into the mix.
Whoa.
Illinois looks very strong. People thought Duke was going to give them a test. The game at Duke a couple of weeks ago did not happen. And so now all of a sudden, the experts start saying, well, Duke isn't that good. And I go, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. Not fair. Go ahead.
Here's something that
and Texas, by the way, Texas isn't even cleared has a true starting quarterback yet. So go ahead.
That's true. Illinois surprises me because they took what I think was an Ole Miss reject in Luke Altmaier at quarterback.
Yeah.
And that young man has taken off. He is ascending.
Yeah.
Played very, very well.
He played well last year, and then getting him to come back was a big deal.
So, they took him, they developed him, and now he's a leader. Yeah, and that game in Champaign is going to be a heck of a deal.
Hey, but Illinois, Indiana this week.
Yeah.
Illinois, Indiana. This is could be an elimination game when it comes to the college football playoff consideration. I mean, right off the bat, both these teams undefeated. You talk about somebody who's played nobody.
That's it.
In a row, that would be Indiana. Line them up any way you want to. They've played nobody. The Sycamores from Terre Haute, Indiana State.
75-0.
Right. But Ohio State played Grambling State,
sure,
which should not be confused with Grambling of 1968. But the bottom line is, I mean, like I go back to Ohio State, though. The way they confused Arch Manning, Matt Patricia did. And by the way, we have some video with Matt Patricia coming up in this show, along with Ryan Day talking about emerging freshman running back Bo Jackson, and then Brian Hartline, where I asked him about, everybody had this idea, you take over as offensive coordinator, play caller, you're going to be winning out, airing it out. You know what I mean?
You were a wide receiver.
Right, because he was a wide receiver, and he's a wide receivers coach extraordinaire.
No doubt.
And, of course, number one, he's a smart guy. He understands you got to run the football. He even talks about that, because of what happened last year. Ohio State was as good as it was offensively because it ran the football with those two studs, Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. Now you got three guys vying for playing time there. C.J. Donaldson, the transfer from West Virginia, who's played pretty well. James Peoples, who still hasn't really gotten off the schneid is the word I like to use. I don't even know what schneid means, but it sounds cool. And then Bo Jackson, are you kidding me? Talk about having a name and sort of living up to it.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson, the freshman, the way he has played, and, as Ryan Day will talk about him and the fact that some things are pretty obvious, but you're still going to need three good running backs, maybe even more as the thing goes on. And then, but like Matt Patricia, just talking about coaching from the sideline, calling defensive signals from the sideline, why he prefers that. And then a little funny anecdote, which I'm not going to give away, and you don't give it away either, man.
No, I'm not.
Don't be premature. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say when Ryan was asked last week about where's Patricia going to be, maybe it's preseason. You go, well, he's going to be on the sideline.
Yeah.
Why are you allowing him to do that or whatever? He goes, that's his call.
Yeah.
I just told him 3 and out, baby.
3 and out, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've been pretty close to that, man. You think about the one touchdown last week to Ohio University, just Lorenzo Styles Jr. makes that tackle. He may even make the pass break up to begin with, but he makes that tackle, and
that's another field goal.
The Ohio University guy ran all the way to the end zone. I euphemistically or funnily, it's not really funny if you're Lorenzo Styles Jr., but I said he missed 3 tackles on the same play. But I was being smart aleck there.
Yeah.
He got banged up in that game too, and shoulder injury right after that. And they think he's going to be okay. But one of the things that's really come on with Ohio State is the bubbling up of talent. I mean, you've got guys. It looked like they swung Jermaine Matthews into that sort of that corner slot spot, and you've got a freshman. We've got a second-year player in Aaron Scott who's coming up, and you've got Devin Sanchez, the 5-star, freshman out of North Shore, Galena North Shore, just east of Houston. One of the major high school programs in the country. Forget about just Texas, and he's made a few mistakes, but he's also played extremely well. He looks like he definitely fits physically. He clearly looks like he fits, right? And that's the thing about this Ohio State team, the roster.
Yeah.
It's still just like last year, a ridiculous roster.
Right.
Just of some guys who haven't really become household names yet. But
Bo is going to be a household name. Yesterday, or when during the Ryan Day presser, he says Bo has talent, and I'm surprised some aspiring media person might have made T-shirts out of that already, much like the other Bo Jackson, who became so famous for all the things he could do. But
Bo knows football.
Is that what I can't? Yeah,
Bo knows college baseball.
Bo knows baseball.
Well, you remember the Nike campaign
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, but Bo Jackson, there's no doubt about it. Let's get the little soundbite with Ryan Day before we talk. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bengals and the Browns too. Just one of them has lost their quarterback for at least 3 months in Joe Burrow. I'm talking about the Bengals, and they've got Jake Browning. We talked about him a little bit on Monday, but Jake Browning kind of played better as the game went on last week.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about the Browns. Do they really have a quarterback? How long do you watch Joe Flacco kind of struggle before you make a move with Dylan Gabriel? I mean,
that's my
because
question.
If you're going to struggle, why not struggle with a guy who's not, maybe suddenly too old?
Yeah.
Why not struggle with a guy who may be too young?
Dylan Gabriel's 24, 25.
Exactly. He's an old young guy.
He's been around. But
yeah,
it's the battle of the backups. I guess we'll talk about that because the Vikes, J.J. McCarthy out 2 to 4 weeks.
Right.
You got Carson Wentz off the scrap heap.
Yep.
Is back. You know, I always wonder about those guys, and you're maybe one call away.
Right.
Are you doing the things every day? Are you eating right? Are you doing the nutrition? Are you going to the, because you can go from no paycheck to a large sum of money with the one phone call.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, but Carson Wentz. I mean, that guy was going to be Jalen Hurts.
For sure.
About, what was that, 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
Has it been that long?
It's been a while. It seems like, maybe it's only been a month, but it seems a while. And then all of a sudden he lost that edge, man. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He lost that edge for whatever reason. And, but it's, that's the thing about the NFL. If you prove you can play a little bit at quarterback, you're very valuable this moment in time. When you look at all the guys who are banged up at quarterback around the National Football League, it's kind of crazy.
Did you find the Bengals choices? They signed 2 guys, Mike White. And who was the other?
I don't know.
It's not coming to me, but it wasn't a huge name. I thought thought they could do a little better on that.
Yeah.
But
you get who you can get. And like I said, you get guys who've been in maybe systems or, your quarterback coach or your offensive coordinator has a feel for whatever reason. Somebody that can. What amazes me is like when Baker Mayfield showed up with the Rams a few years ago. Now, of course, Baker Mayfield's been resuscitated his career. My wife loves watching Baker Mayfield play. Can still to this day never believe the Browns ever got rid of him. And all he did was play. He didn't play hurt. He played injured.
Right.
And maybe that was his fault. But I find it hard to believe that the starting quarterback on any team says, "No, I'm playing, coach." Yeah. And that's the final word on it. You know what I mean?
Supreme confidence.
Yeah. So everybody tries to blame everybody else when things go wrong, and stuff. But you remember he showed up and 4 days later, won a game for the LA Rams. So the playbooks may not be as deep as we think they are. Right. So it's the nomenclature more than it is the playbook. But a lot of people struggling. I mean, college football, that's why you knock on wood, man, when you have a really good quarterback, things can go south in a hurry if something happens to that quarterback, or if the guy you've got, like Arch Manning, for example, isn't really panning out like you thought it was going to early,
Not there yet.
Yeah. I mean, you got Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, who's playing with some kind of torso injury, upper body injury, which I heard someone describing this on a radio show the other day. That doesn't usually get better unless you've got a year off to let it heal, and or sometimes those things need surgery. And just like with Joe Burrow, toe sprain doesn't quite explain it because he had to, has had probably by now surgery to fix whatever the strain is there. And boy, anything related with the foot, turf toe. Turf toe doesn't get.
It doesn't.
Turf toe sounds like you jammed your toe on the coffee table on your way to the fridge to get another beer. No, it's not the same thing at all. It's literally a ligament kind of thing up in your foot, which just is like, based on people who've had it, you take a step and it feels like somebody stuck a knife in your foot.
It's like making the bed and you run your bare foot right into the darn whatever.
There and
you're limping for a day and a half.
That's what the bed builders call them, the darn whatevers they had there before they ship them. But hey, did you check the darn whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's the checklist at a bed making factory.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, I mean, quarterback is so vital, and now we're seeing Ohio State have a quarterback really rise. I asked Brian Hartline about Julian Sayin, Ohio State's offensive coordinator, and this confidence that he feels with him now being able to run pretty much a lot, if not most of the offense. And he explains what that means, right? And then, but let's get back to Ryan Day and a little soundbite from his press conference earlier this week. Because like we said, we only had one day of interviews with Ohio State this week, it was with Ryan Day, offensive coordinator Brian Hartline, first-year offensive play caller Brian Hartline, and then Matt Patricia, first-year defensive coordinator at Ohio State, not forever, obviously, as we know, with his Super Bowl rings to show for it. But let's get to the little give and take with Ryan Day here, talking about Bo Jackson and what Bo Jackson has brought to the fore.
I mean, we were just talking about that as an offensive staff. It doesn't take a veteran coach to recognize talent when you see it, and Bo has talent. And we're going to keep bringing him along. It's a long season. And so, we're going to continue to give him the opportunities to prove that we can trust him with the ball in his hands. So far, he's done that. You can see his vision. You can see his ability to catch the ball. He's got a lot of different skills. We're going to keep bringing him along. And the more he can take, the more we're going to give him. But I also think there's, just like any other position, there's a way you bring guys along. And the number one thing is just ball security, taking care of that football. And then there's pass protection. And there's, all those things. And he's checked these boxes. I mean, he's been doing a nice job. So we're going to need everybody in that room. I think they're all a little bit different, which is unique. So it's our job to put them in a situation to be successful. But he's going to get plenty of carries this year.
Yeah. We were sitting there in the press box on Saturday night, right? And I'm just going,
there he goes.
Yeah, there he goes. But it's obvious, as Ryan Day pointed out, we're not the only ones who think that way.
That he's a cut above?
I don't know if cut above is the right term, but when the guy starts the second half for you and goes 64 yards and really adds a spark when you really kind of needed it, whether Ohio State was going to hang on and win, I don't think was a question. Whether Ohio State was going to win impressively was the question. And you needed something to get going with that offense. And Bo Jackson delivered a 64-yard run, which got him going. And the freshman, every time you see him, he looks a little bit better than he did the last time. And you remember in spring ball, he was impressive in spring ball while we got to watch practices. And I don't think he's been unimpressive in the first three games. Well, he didn't play in the first game, right, against Texas.
No.
And but now, some things are undeniable. 2 straight 100-yard games. I don't care who you're running against.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I'd like what Brian Hartline said about, it's not that they're not going to use the other guys. You have to. You got pair and a spare, 17-game season if you can run the table. But Hartline was like, if you can bring something to me, hey, Tim May is a prolific writer. Tim May is now a podcast dude. Tim May can bring this, that, and the other. And he says that's when he was talking about the receivers, Brandon Ennis. This is okay. He doesn't catch a million passes, but what he's doing, maybe you're not seeing, but that's how you get on the field. You bring a different talent to the toolbox, as Larry Johnson would say.
Yep.
And that's what he does. Doesn't mean C.J. Donaldson is not a great power back and 235 pounds. You're going to use him on 4th and goal at the 1. And James Peoples, durable, he's got some talent of his own.
Just hasn't gotten going yet.
Everybody
big time.
Everybody is a little different, and there's certainly more than the 3.
Yeah.
And they may need the 4th team guy and the 5th team guy this year. Turbo Rogers and so on and so forth. We shall see.
Yeah. You kind of ran out of gas there, didn't you, as you were talking about the running backs? Turbo. As soon as you hit the turbo, boom. See, that's why you don't get on the turbo too often. It'll suck that gasoline right out of the tank. Bottom line is, going back to Bo Jackson, some guys just have it. I mean, Maurice Clarett had it. You could see it. Remember on the Monday press conference, or the Monday Tim May show featuring Clay Hall, I had Matt Wilhelm on there talking about, you could see, the players could see what Maurice Clarett brought to the program from the get-go as soon as he showed up in spring ball. And Bo Jackson's the same way. When you've got a guy that can pop a big play, can run through maybe an arm tackle or two and pop a big play, it's obvious to everybody. And we keep going back to this. This is a long season, a 16-game season if Ohio State has its way. just like last year. And you need these a different look. I mean, Bo Jackson gives you a different look in all kinds of ways. But the main thing he does now, when he goes into the game against Washington at Washington, the Washington defense is gonna. You're probably gonna, if you're down the field, hear them saying, "There's 25. There's 25. Hey, who's got 25?" Right? Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, hopefully they've already said who's got number 4, who's got 17. Who's got 89? Who's got 86?
Sounds like a basketball.
Yeah,
game.
who's got number 4? Who's got number 1? You know, we've forgotten about number 1. Well, number 1's only caught a couple of passes. Who cares about number 1? And all of a sudden, Brandon Ennis
strikes
goes. And then, of course, we haven't even seen really Julian Sayin run the ball yet. He tried to scramble at the goal line on their first possession last week against Ohio U and got tripped, which was unfortunate. But the bottom line is we haven't really seen him add that to his repertoire. You know, Washington's got a hell of a quarterback who does that kind of stuff. So we'll see where that goes. But the bottom line is when Bo Jackson's in the game, you got to know he's in the game because he could go 50 on you in a heartbeat. And, you know, I always thought James Peoples was going to bring that.
I did too.
From the get-go. And it hadn't happened yet. But maybe it's going to happen.
Sure.
But like I've talked about before on a lot of platforms, the thing I've thought about James Peoples is he doesn't look quite as patient as he needs to be yet, maybe pressing it a little bit because he's not seeing some things I think the way Bo Jackson is because, you know, you're not going to block everybody.
Nope.
And if you see that glint of sunlight coming through this open, not door, but window over here, you know, some guys see it and see open space. Other guys see it and see a train. You know, right. So the key is to really get in there, feel comfortable about what you're feeling and what you're seeing. And Bo Jackson just looks natural at that.
He does.
That's the best way of putting it. And sometimes you just got to get out of the way and let the man play. Or you know, if you got a good front man, you put him up front and let him sing. Right. So that's what I look at.
I like that.
And so we'll see where that goes. I'm more curious now. Brian Hartline. Let's move on to him because obviously he was named offensive coordinator a couple of years ago, but then Ryan Day didn't give up those reins of being a lot more in charge of the offense and calling plays because that was tough for Ryan Day to do. Things probably just didn't feel right for him. Maybe he felt it was premature for Brian Hartline. And also, when you've been doing something for as long as Ryan Day's been doing it, you have a hard time giving it up, right?
For sure.
Right.
And he was bringing them along the whole time.
Correct.
He was co-offensive coordinator.
Tough love.
And now he's emerged to the point or developed to the point that Ryan feels comfortable saying, all right, you got the keys. I'll be on the headset. Well, you know, as we've talked a little bit, and I asked him, Hartline, about just how much leeway is he given? Does he give you elbow room? Does he look over your shoulder? I didn't ask how many times because I'm sure he gets on there and says, I would rather maybe do this. But as I said, the training wheels are off to him, and I think it feels pretty good.
Yeah, but he said they're never off.
Well,
so he countered your argument, but
he doesn't need to ride the bike with them anymore.
Well, yeah, he does. I mean, believe me, he may not need to ride the bike with him, but Ryan Day is on the bike without a doubt.
Well, that's for sure.
You know, if anything, he's in one of those World War II motorcycles with a sidecar, or like Barney Fife had. Remember in the Andy Griffith Show?
No doubt.
But the bottom line is Ryan Day's a head coach of the team, number one. Number two, he has great expertise in calling plays. He has great expertise in designing plays. I'm talking about Ryan Day, the head coach. He's always going to have his hand in everything they do offensively, without a doubt. But so are the other guys in the room who are adding to it, like Tyler Bowen, you know, in basically, you know, run game coordinator. I don't even know what that means. It's like, are you designing all the running plays? I don't even understand never have understood that, except it's a way to get pay him more money,
Passing game coordinator as well.
But Tyler Bowen has been an offensive coordinator,
Twice,
Virginia Tech and before. So the point is, there are a lot of people in that room or in the mix of coming up with game plans, coming up with practice plans from day to day and week to week, the game plan. Right. Brian Hartline's not just calling plays he wants to call. I mean, hey, let's go with the 180th play in our playbook this time. Okay. I mean, it's about a game plan. The key for an offensive coordinator, who then also becomes the play caller, though, is collating that game plan as they go along during the week, listening to everybody's input about, hey, who's really stepping up here? Carlos Loughlin, which of these running backs kind of fits this? Carlos Loughlin, who's really come on as a pass pro guy in the backfield? Is C.J. Donaldson our best guy there? How's James Peoples doing? And the freshman Bo Jackson. Yeah, we want to play him more, but how's his pass pro? Right. Pass pro's got to be on point. And so a lot goes into this. The tight ends, Keenan Bailey, how are those guys doing over there? Is Max Clare, how's his blocking going? How'd he look last game? Although you can look at on video and see it for yourself. But the point is, so much goes in to the early week formulating a game plan, but then Brian Hartline takes that all in, surely adds his own spice to it. Ryan Day probably checks in on the meetings he probably sits in on them almost every day, I would think. And that's how you come up with a game plan. So this idea that he's ever going to be sitting in the booth, what's it called? Hermetically sealed from everybody else and just talking to Julian Sayin and calling plays on his own. Well, I don't know where anybody would think that would ever happen. Yeah. That's not going to happen.
Community effort.
Right. I mean, head coaches want to be so much involved because finally it is their team, it is their offense that you're going with. With that said, Brian Hartline, you could tell when he's talking about his give and take, when you were even asking him about it, his give and take with Ryan Day, sometimes it's tough love. And if you know Brian Hartline is not bashful by speaking up for what he thinks.
Exactly.
But it always comes down, the final arbiter is always going to be the head coach, and the point is, like Ryan Day, I think, likes to challenge guys. Okay.
I think a good head coach does that.
But challenge guys. Okay. Well, why? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to change up this little play, this little nuance in this little play to do that? And then you have to have the answers. If you have the answers, then you move on. Right. And so I don't think Ryan Day gets enough credit because he's such a good guy to us, good guy, seems like a good-natured guy to the public. Is he telling jokes all the time? No, absolutely not. But I mean, he just seems approachable. And as a, law-abiding citizen, for another term, you know what I mean? And behind closed doors, I mean, you ask the quarterbacks, he jumps right into them, man, when there are mistakes made, because that will kill you.
Nip it in the bud.
As I said on the radio the other night, Ryan Day abhors. That's the word I like to use because it sounds kind of cool, has a little bit of a tang to it there at the end. Abhors turnovers and interceptions, which is a turnover. He abhors turnovers because, wow, you've worked all week. You may have 60, 63, 65 chances to run a play, to run plays in a game, and you just blew it. You just gave the ball back to the other team. Shame.
It's like when he said the other day, I'm not happy about anything.
Right.
And that's what comes out when you're trying to get to reach perfection or excellence. Maybe you bump into excellence if you're pursuing perfection.
Right.
And I just can't think of somebody better. Yeah, this is blowing smoke, but to bring a young play caller along than Ryan Day.
Right. But the thing is, Ryan Day gives him very little, if any, slack, because it's so important that you be on point. So, hey, let's get to the quick question and answer on a couple of questions I had for Brian Hartline earlier this week at the press conference from the standpoint of how he was perceived maybe by some folks and how he has turned out as a play caller.
Yeah, Brian, 3 games in too with Julian Sayin, what do you feel like you can run
pretty much anything you want to run now? I mean, what is the sense of your trust in him, your confidence in him running the offense?
I'd say that he's done a great job. I think that, you don't ever make assumptions. I don't think you're ever in a spot where, like, okay, we can just do whatever we want now.
Yeah.
We're very targeted with everything we do. We'll never make that assumption. I think he's grown and done a really good job. Definitely has some learning opportunities every week. So his ability to take that information and apply it will ultimately continue that growth. I would say that I'm really proud of him. I think he's doing a great job. But we're never going to take that assumption that we can just do whatever we want and put him in every situation we want. So always going to be targeted. Always going to continue to make sure the game plan is very clear and concise, and not easy, but maybe simple, which is good. So we can play at a very, very high level. But yeah, I think we're taking the right steps. But again, we have a long road ahead. Again, we take retrospect to maybe where we were week 3 last year compared to where we finished. We just want to continue to stay on pace, continue to grow. And I think Julian's doing a great job individually.
A quick follow too. I mean, a lot of people thought when you got this job, you'd just be bombs away all day. You know what I mean? And I try to caution him. I've heard you talk and stuff. You really understand the importance of the run game, right? I mean, can you explain that to people of what it means to get 3 running backs going?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys on the field at one time. It's not just quarterback and wideouts. So, yeah, I mean, I think talked for a while on this. Well, I would say that, we talked about Julian. Julian's a first-year starter, right? So his best friend should be a good run game, right? We have a great O-line that's doing a really good job of progressing in their own path. So I think, again, we got to where we were last year because of the run game. It wasn't just because of the pass game. A great pass game is complemented by a great run game and vice versa. So to have play-action passes is not great if you don't have a great run game. And you don't have great tight ends that can do all those kind of things. So being very balanced makes it a little more difficult, I think, for the defenses to maybe pin you down a certain way. But I've always believed, I'm a big fan of play action pass. I love the art of selling something you're not doing. And so, yeah, I mean, that assumption would be a little too surface for me for the run game, but I appreciate you asking.
I've known Brian Hartline since he was 17 years old.
High school?
Yeah, when he got recruited by Ohio State, suffered that broken leg or whatever it was his senior year in high. And I remember him showing him at an Ohio State game. And I've always liked his spirit. I've always liked, you liked him as a player to begin with, but just he had that little something about him. And, who was I talking to earlier who talked about how impressed they were with Brian Hartline when they were on the team too. It might've been Dane. No, I can't remember. Anyway, the bottom line is I'll remember it in a minute. I'll probably remember when I'm driving home, but he was always asking questions, even as a freshman, sophomore, he was always asking questions. He wasn't just sitting there in the wide receiver room or on the practice field and doing his thing and then going sitting down or going and standing off on the side. He was always wanting to know how things worked. And, which meant he was going to be a coach someday.
Right.
I mean, after he got out of the NFL, after 8 years in the National Football League, he became just kind of a walk-on coach at Ohio State. Next thing you know, his prowess is obvious to everybody when he was working with the three amigos and Johnny Dixon, Paris Campbell, and Terry McLaurin. And they really liked it because back then, when you're GA, they had to ask you questions. You couldn't just coach,
No.
supposedly. But nowadays, I think you and I could show up and coach if Brian Day wanted us to. But real quick before you ask me that question, but the point is, that's why Ryan Day or Urban Meyer saw something in him because when the parting with Zach Smith had to happen there in late July of 2018, Urban Meyer hired him as an assistant coach. With the wide receivers. And then, of course, Ryan Day kept him on when Ryan Day took over in 2019 because they'd already had a relationship and liked where he was coming from. But I think Brian has definitely been doing his homework through the years, paying attention. He's more than ready. Dude, there are guys who are head coaches in their early 30s. I mean, Brian Hartline's what, 38, 39, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
I may have him wrong and he'll get mad, but he's been at Ohio State since 2017.
I was going to say he played 6 years. I just recall when Urban first asked, "Hey, why don't you come check us out?" Blah blah blah, and he did. And Urban offered him, and he said, "Nah, not really interested." I can just remember this like it was yesterday. He was like, "Nope, that's not something I want to do." And I'm not sure what changed his mind. Urban just he saw it in him, I think.
Yes, he did.
And so I think he kept working and working and working. And he finally got him to sign on the dotted line. And boy, that's when you can mine that gold in your backyard. That's
good gold.
That is some kind of.
Do you hoard it? But do you hoard it then?
That's a heaping helping. But when you were talking,
or do you take it to an assayer and let them figure it out?
But when you were talking to him about, people think you would just air it out. But how many times have you heard great coaches say it's balance? It's balance. As a fan, you're like, hey, this is working great. Let's keep doing it. No, that isn't how it works. You got to get the defense a little off balance. And so, and certainly Hartline subscribes to that. I heard him say it twice yesterday.
Well, I just kept telling people that all summer long that
he was going to.
Yeah, because I mean, I've heard him speak at clinics, the Ohio State clinic especially, and talked at length about the importance of a stout running game. As he just talked about a little while ago, he talked about the importance of what Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson brought to the offense. It was a complete offense last year. The passing game got better as the year went on. It complemented the running game.
Yeah, I think it warmed people's hearts because that's what Ohio State was.
Well, Chip Kelly was always going to run the ball. I mean, with any offense he's associated with, they're going to run the ball till they can run the ball.
That's his calling card.
Right. And it's pretty much Brian Hartline. See that, people, why do you keep, hitting that nail that's kind of crooked, that running game especially early in the season, because it's not just important to the running backs, it's important to the offensive line, for the offensive line to feel a sense of dominance.
Yeah.
And it's important for the coaches to feel confidence in their offensive line's ability to deliver some dominance, right on down the line, everything. And the more you can get, just like Ohio University, they were pretty keen on stopping the run against Ohio State.
Yeah.
And probably if Ohio State went back and looked at, I know they went back and looked at the video, there was more there in the passing game than they even got to, because Ohio U was, like Ryan Day said after the game, was rolling guys up near the line of scrimmage.
Loading the box.
Well, yeah.
Bit.
Not so much loading the box, but decorating it, on the edges. But they were keen on stopping the run. And then you got Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, who can run by almost anybody. And they did on a couple of plays. And that was it. That just shows you what those kind of guys bring to an offense. Okay, you think you got Ohio State figured out today, and then just one-on-one, this guy runs by.
Yeah, he's just too good.
Your corner and touchdown. And then, oh, by the way, now you're leaning Jeremiah Smith's way, and then this guy runs by your corner, touchdown, over the top, which, by the way, I don't know what your take is, but Julian Sayin, like we talked about earlier in the week, Julian Sayin faced some not so clean pockets against Ohio University and moved around in the pocket pretty well to escape, did some things mobility wise, which I think people are still coming to grips with about how mobile he can be. But you agree. I mean, you can see them feeling more and more like I asked Brian, you can see them feeling a little more and more confident what they can put on his plate, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think you'll start to see Brian, grow. And keep going back to that Michigan game when Chris Olave was running all those crossers, and it just stunned Michigan. I mean, how many balls did he catch that day? And I think one of those days is coming too, because I think he's that enlightened, if you will.
Oh yeah.
So
you haven't seen half of what they can do.
No. And maybe you'll see a lot more in Seattle.
Well, they're going to need it. I mean, that's the
They
point.
are.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
are.
you're going into a hostile place. It'll be interesting to see how many Ohio State fans are there, though.
My
but
last trip, there was a significant number.
Right. Well, there are Ohio State fans all over the West Coast. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, but Washington is as far away from Southern California, I think, as Denver, maybe farther.
That's right.
You know, Seattle is. But Ohio State fans, you remember at Autzen Stadium last year when Ohio State played there for the first time in Oregon. I don't know how many Ohio State fans were in the crowd. There were quite a few, but there were a lot out in the parking lots in the tailgating area and stuff, just to be a part of that phenomenon of Ohio State playing at Oregon for just the second time in history.
I think the first time Ohio State was at Arizona in what year? It was
99 or
it was
2000,
good.
one of those. Yeah.
And opened the door after we got into the stadium on a Friday, and I heard OH, and I was like, oh, that's how it is.
I just remember
They're everywhere.
I just remember flying out there and getting off the plane in Phoenix at 10:30 at night, and it was 99 degrees. I went, no way Tim May's ever living here in September.
It's not a humid.
Yeah, that's what
dry
John
heat.
Cooper used to say. Yeah, everybody says it's not. It's a dry heat, and he goes, "Well, your oven's dry too, but you don't go sticking your head in there." And he's exactly right.
Yeah.
Anything over 100 degrees is really, really hot. I don't care where you are. I mean, I grew up in East Texas, you know, and it gets hot. So, but it's a little more of a humid hot. But anyway, we digressed a little too far there when we start talking about putting heads in ovens.
Yeah. Our next.
How about Matt Patricia, though? Speaking of keeping his head in the game, it's pretty funny because we, you know, the big question was he going to be in the booth or downstairs?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of defensive coordinators, man, especially in the National Football League, lion's share probably, maybe I'm wrong, are down on the field. And it's almost like they want to get a feel for things. And like Matt Patricia says, you know, he didn't say this, but I'm paraphrasing. You're kind of at the mercy of the information you're getting from the press box.
That's right.
About personnel on the field. What do things look like over on their sideline? You know, the other team, what does it look like they're getting ready to, you know, who are they about to get ready to put in the game? But the main thing is personnel groupings, because you're not just like in the offensive coordinator, you're not just pulling plays out of your back pocket. You know, you're matching up preparation, defensive calls with what you've seen them do on video, and or based on the people they've got on the field. And so he talked about why he likes to be on the sideline, and you know, and you'll hear him talk about it here in a second. But also the new technology, you know, that's been available to college football now for a couple of seasons that that's not allowed even in the National Football League, which is those replay pads. They have the little blue pads in the National Football League, but I think they're limited to still shots.
Right, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know,
is interesting.
I don't even know how those work. I don't know if you have some sequential, sequential shots of a play, or if it's just this is how they lined up, this is how they deployed. You know, remember they used to send those things down by vacuum tube or whatever, or courier, from one series to the next.
You wouldn't know.
Facsimiles of basically screenshots or camera shots. So the way things evolve, it's just funny how you still have these holes on what technology you can use. Meanwhile, there's a replay screen right there in the end zone. You know what I mean? So
the fans can see it.
Yeah. But hey, let's just get to that little video with him talking about that, and then we'll discuss that a little bit.
Defense, but all the coordinating years that I had, it's just I feel that being down on the field is good from a communication standpoint, talking to signal callers. Guys, some guys are upstairs and it's much calmer. You know, it's a different atmosphere. You can see the game. You gotta have great eyes upstairs, when you're downstairs. But what's interesting for me in the college game is the video. That's really crazy. We have the iPad, the tablets with you can see the whole play. It's like the entire video. I actually think this one got me the other day. I was swiping through, and I'm like, it was probably a bad play, right? I'm trying to correct, and all of a sudden the TV copy, and there's my daughter. Like, I'm just trying to swipe through that. I was like, But that's really been cool, you know, to be able to have the full play and to be able to adjust because you can really get all of that. So in the series, it's real important to have the eyes upstairs because you're kind of trying to correct as you go. But when you get to the sideline, to be able to see that full video really makes it great down in the field. And then I can talk to the players and I can see how they're feeling. And when we make adjustments, maybe I'm looking at the guy and I'm like, hey, are you okay if we go to this call or maybe this disguise or this look? And again, the double blink, you know, not going to move to something else. You can just kind of get a better feel for how they're feeling about maybe some of the stuff that you're trying to do during the game.
I don't know about you, Clay. I have been impressed with Matt Patricia since the day Ryan Day hired him because I didn't know whether Ryan Day could actually pull it off. You heard he was interested in a guy such as that because, boy, when you can bring NFL pixie dust and sprinkle it on your team and on your staff.
You're doing a lot of sprinkling.
And the thing about it is, well, Tim Walton.
Yep.
Tim Walton was in the NFL for a long time as assistant coach, even as a coordinator a couple of times. Now he's the pass game coordinator. Is that what you call it for the defense? Basically, defensive co-coordinator. And what he has brought is undeniable to anybody. The way this, and Matt Guerreri with the safeties, those guys work hand in hand and seem to be working like a glove. And then you got James Laurinaitis, who was a star in the National Football League, and before that, a Butkus Award winner.
And look at his room.
Linebacker for the Ohio State University. And so I'm talking about his pro expertise though, about teaching on a little bit different level. And Larry Johnson has produced all these defensive linemen for the National Football League in his years at Penn State and then Ohio State now. And that staff, and they've got guys, working with them, support guys on that staff. Like Matt Patricia's got a few guys he brought with him who it's just a different way of doing things. But like Matt Patricia talked about the other day, you've got players that can handle it at Ohio State, meaning when it's time to talk football, they get serious. They may be jocular around each other at different times of the thing, but this is a mature kind of approach to college defensive football. And then when you can take those guys and give them new ideas, add nuances to the defense, where you may line up exactly like you did last week and do something totally different. By totally different, it could be just two guys doing something different, but that can disrupt everything a quarterback's seeing. The whole idea is to disrupt the offensive line and his blocking schemes and disrupt the quarterback and what he's seeing before the snap and after the snap.
Keep them guessing.
Right. And there's that little brief moment between Hutt and the ball getting to the quarterback is huge.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It may be a
on.
blink of an eye, but for that split second, that's why I don't always like shotgun or pistol depth quarterback taking the snap. For that split second, the defense is up to no good sometimes. And you've taken your eye off of it because you got to catch the snap, right? And
no doubt. And
there are a lot of people that live in that margin. Matt Patricia is one of those who lives in that margin. It's obvious. But not just that, but pre and post snap reads for the quarterback have become very difficult for opponents of Ohio State.
Well, ask Arch Manning. I think too, it's interesting that you don't, this is well-worn phrase, don't judge a book by its cover, because the last part of what fans saw was him kind of out of sorts on the side. I mean, it was a tough run with the Lions as head coach. And I don't know how many people asked me, do you really think he won 3 Super Bowls?
That's exactly, by the way,
think about that.
That's exactly the way they sound, but go ahead now.
Yeah. It just,
I just wanted to make sure you knew that you had a great impression there. When you see with the Browns, you see with the Lions, things don't always go great. You don't always go from the Patriots to the Lions and it be the same organization. No. And let's face it, even the Patriots were on a denouement with the departure of Tom Brady, right? And have stayed on that.
He's bilingual.
Yeah, right.
Oui.
You speak French. Oui. There is no we in team, but there is in France.
but now he looks.
By the way, we even has an I in it in France, but that doesn't mean the same
I know
thing.
Russian.
But anyway,
I don't know
I didn't mean to
French.
go there. My brain works really oddly. But the bottom line is, yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, they wanted to judge the book.
Oh, he was
by
always,
the last chapter they remembered seeing, and they didn't remember what esteem that Bill Belichick held Matt Patricia in.
I wonder if he was on the sidelines in New England.
I went all that way to
time.
end that sentence with a preposition. Go ahead now. What?
I wonder if he was always on the sideline. It seems like you could see it better up top, but I guess you can feel it better on the sideline.
Oh yeah.
And more power to him. He's doing a hell of a job.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, it's a different game. It's a different game from down low. Obviously
it is.
But one of the things you can definitely tell, you can see, maybe even better, is you can see the quarterback. You can see his eyeballs when you're down on the field in most places. I mean, or you can feel his eyeballs, and you can figure out whether you're having, for example, you can feel that you're having an impact on him.
Yeah.
You're affecting the quarterback. Remember, Mark D'Antonio used to use that phrase all the time. You want to affect the quarterback, meaning you want to hit him. You also want to mess with his brain. And of course, you're not allowed to hit quarterbacks in the head anymore. So messing with their brain means messing with what they're seeing, what they're feeling, their ability to, after 4 or 5 or 8 or 10 plays, figure out what you're doing on defense. That's why you've got to be multiple on defense with bring a lot to the dinner on the ground, as we used to call it in Alabama when I was growing up. Bring a lot of dishes to the dinner on the ground, and give yourself choices there to throw at a quarterback. It's all about affecting that guy, but you got to stop the run. The main thing you got to do is stop the run.
That's it.
Or neutralize the run.
So that's one-dimensional.
That's part and parcel to any defensive coordinator's lifespan as a defensive coordinator. Is finally, did your defense stop the run and make them have to throw the ball? That's the first question. And Ohio State's been doing a pretty good job of that. Agreed?
Yeah.
I mean, Texas thought they were going to come into Ohio Stadium and run the ball. Didn't really.
No, sir. No, when I think of D'Antonio, I think of quick change. He was always talking about quick change. He should write a book, Quick Change, and how a defense has to respond after a turnover.
Yeah.
And he did that pretty darn well.
Yeah. He didn't invent that, but you're right. I mean, you've always got to be ready to lock and load and get out there. And but by the way, that's another reason why Ryan Day abhors turnovers. Because if your defense has played really well up to this point, you don't want to just go willy-nilly and put them in jeopardy. So it's all hand in hand. Like Matt Patricia,
complimentary football.
Yeah, complimentary. You can only do what the dumbest guy on your defense can do. You know what I mean? You can't overload him too much.
There's a quote.
Well,
that's true.
One guy screws up, and you can be had. And offensively, you can only do what the worst offensive lineman on your team can do, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because otherwise, you got 4 guys blocking somebody and one guy going Olay, or look out.
Come on.
But speaking of that, boy, I didn't mean to make this a segue or dovetail, but the Bengals, once again, they're going to be without Joe Burrow for an extended period.
Third time.
They've never gotten their offensive line figured out, in my opinion, enough for justifying having a quarterback with the talent of Joe Burrow. You can't protect him on a consistent basis. He's the heart and soul of your team, not just of your offense.
That's right.
And shame on you, Bengals. Do you agree or disagree?
I don't know their drafting history per player, but they just don't seem to invest. They used to. What was it? Willie Anderson. You go back and Munoz, and they've not had.
That's way back.
They have not had those.
That's back when I covered the team.
Dominant players, per se. And this, yeah, I mean, you've got he's an MVP, top 3 quarterback in the league. And it's like Zach Taylor said, hey, I don't know how a turf toe injury happens. Maybe it wasn't anybody's fault.
Right.
But he was under duress.
Or your foot gets twisted underneath and things can happen.
You got to get cleaner in the pocket. And so, I mean, they're hung out to dry unless Jake Browning can get it done. And it is the battle of the backups. I think we spoke on that before. Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz in Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's a 1:00.
What?
Thing.
What? No Bette Midler?
Oh.
No Bette Midler? That's from Seinfeld.
There you go.
When Elaine got the ladies at the manicurist place tickets to a lavish Broadway musical. What? No Bette Midler? That's kind of what I mean. Seriously, who knows? Both of these quarterbacks could go wild on in this game, and it'd be like 40-35. But it looks like it could be more like 13-9.
Yeah, one of those,
right? Who knows where it's going to go? By the way, MVP in regards to Joe Burrow now means most vulnerable person, or player. Because oh my goodness, I can't imagine. He's had to recover from
the frustration of all that
from some fairly knee injury, but then a couple other just strange injuries, man, that you just almost like it was predestined that this is going to happen to him. Meanwhile, they have a year of almost injury free for him last year, and they couldn't stop anybody.
And he set records.
Yeah. And so that's how difficult it is, ladies and gentlemen,
to put it all together
in the National Football League.
And I think the Browns are headed. I mean, they're going to turn Micah loose. I know he's kind of working his way back on a snap count, and he came out with a back issue, et cetera. And then, like you brought up the quarterbacks, is it time to, because Joe Flacco seems to be a little slew-footed, even worse than before.
But he's
a quality quarterback.
He made an error. He made one error last week that a veteran quarterback
trying to hit Njoku.
Yeah. What are you doing? I mean, golly, live to play another play.
Right.
But then again, I think he's done that in the past. That's kind of one of his calling cards, right? Is to, put it up for grabs a few times. But the bottom line is it's just too bad because, I guess my point is I think Dylan Gabriel's very sharp.
I think he's
very smart.
He's clever and he's resourceful. Ohio State trying to chase him around last year at Autzen.
In one game, not in the other game.
No, you're right. Dominant in that game.
Not in the sequel.
But 3rd and 6, boom, he's out. He's out the gate. He's moving.
And he usually makes good decisions. So
I agree.
I mean, I wouldn't be hesitant to play him because the season is rapidly, an hourglass where the sand's coming down.
I like that.
All right. In an hourglass, you got a lot of sand left.
Whereas they say it's
in an egg timer. This is more like the egg timer with their season right now.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of sand in there to drip out.
It's getting later.
Yeah, it's getting later by the minute. Pardon the pun.
I would use both of them, find out who's the best, because Deshaun's not. I mean, I saw some little blurb about I'm feeling good, I'm coming back, I'm looking good. You think there's no more Deshaun Watson, right?
I haven't. Who knows?
Who knows?
With the Browns,
would they try to resurrect that?
With the Browns, you never know. Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows? A lot of money there. A lot of money there involved with Deshaun Watson. By the way, that's the siren. I don't know if people can hear it, but I can hear a siren going off, meaning
is it time for lunch?
It's time for you and I to bid adieu once again on the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall. We're going to be back if things go right. Like I say, I don't like to talk about somebody who I haven't recorded that conversation with yet, But I will say this: on one of our great friends, one of my great friends for sure. You guys were competitors for 20 years.
It's funny how
it's Dom Taberry.
How that's evolved.
Dom Taberry of Channel 10, and he is finally going to submit to a Tim May show. I think he got jealous when I had Adam King on, a couple of weeks ago. But we're going to have, if things work out, our next show on Friday will feature Dom Taberry. He has a great relationship with Ryan Day, has seen as much Ohio State football as I have over the years, as much as you have too. And we'll just talk about a lot of subjects and try to keep it to an hour. Right?
That may be difficult.
But ladies and gentlemen, for Clay Hall, I'm Tim May. This has been the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall. We'll see you next time.